Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
You know that Costco is no longer selling the 2 muffin pack. Now it's just a 1 muffin pack for $6.99, or it's going to be changing pretty soon.
I did not know that.
Yeah, not that I really bought the 2 muffins because I thought that was too much, but for people who did like it, I think you get a worse deal. I think now it's instead of 22 cents per muffin or something, it's like 58 cents per muffin. Again, though, it's like, inflation is it's life. Just like when you're buying, your favorite wargaming products, things go up in price. It's part of life, but that's what we talk about here at the Squad Games Podcast.
That is what we talk about on the Squad Games Podcast. Absolutely.
How you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We gave our first thoughts and looks on the Orc Kill Team, the Rekka Crew, and the Ratlings this week. That was quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
We also did a battle report. Got a couple things wrong here and there, as it is. The team isn't even released yet, but, gave it a shot, see how it went. Hopefully you guys enjoy that.
Yeah, have fun watching. It's available on the YouTube channel now.
It sure is. It was, overall thoughts of the 2 teams, Giacomo. What is your overall thoughts?
Ooh, I really like the way Rekka can trade with elites and really control a board. Like you can just definitely take contain, like you can own a spot. And Ratlings, surprisingly survivable. Like they only got 6 wounds, average 6 wounds, but they're surprisingly survivable. Yeah, it's a good team. I like them both. None of them seem overpowered to the point where you're like, it's Legionary again,
That's fair, yeah.
Everything feels like in a solid A, like mid A. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think both teams are super fun to play. They both have a lot of cool mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And both have a lot of extra tips and tricks up their sleeves, So,
oh, yeah. More than you'd expect.
Yeah. There is some people that have made some negative comments on our YouTubes or other YouTube channels or anything like that. I would say to anyone who's just picked up a team to realize that it takes you a couple of games to make sure that you play the game, the teams correctly, right? Are we playing some of these teams at tournament level with a brand new edition?
No way.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is what game night is for. We are testing new rules for new kill teams. We're playing kill team and having a lot of fun doing it. What's interesting is I took infiltration for the very first time. I've never even played a team with infiltration before. I played.
Gosh, yeah, I don't think I've.
What was it? Infect? What was that? What is that infect thing called again?
You're talking about implant?
Implant.
Yeah.
And then I shot a guy across the table and implanted him. We caught it by the end of the game, but that was a
late catch. It was. But nonetheless, I've never seen you take infiltration before. But I think it just depends on the team, right?
I think it's actually really good for
them for
this
sure.
For this team. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's insane. Like what you could just do is literally go implant somebody and then abandon that character for the rest of the game. Just like they can stay alive. I'm going to get the points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick thing before we dive into the episode's main topic, right? The main topic is what we hope to see out of the balanced data slate. All right. So for instance, the thing that I want to talk about is the Las Vegas Open. Sorry, you guys probably get sick of that here, but it is our event, and we are going to be doing a lot of really fun and cool things with that event. I get a lot of questions about it here and there. I don't know if the player document's actually linked to the tickets. I'll have to talk to FLG about it. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that a little bit because we are nearly sold out of the largest kill team tournament on planet Earth.
I know.
And there's I just texted 8 people who haven't bought tickets yet. It's crazy. It's crazy how many people that I know have not bought tickets yet, and we are almost sold out. So if you guys don't have tickets, get your tickets because it's going to be crazy.
Historically, FLG will usually tell us to cap sometime in December, and we're getting there. So if you plan on doing it, now's the time to start getting those tickets.
Absolutely. So, first things first, there's, let me talk about the tournament format real quick. The tournament format is, there are 3 pods. There's pod A, pod B, and pod C. Pod C is the narrative event. The narrative event has its own rules and will be dropped after game 5. They are a part of the overall tournament. So they get a hobby track score, they get ITC score, all that kind of stuff, but they can never get above. They can't score very high. They can't get very high in the tournament because they only have 5 rounds. It is a 9-round event, and there are Group A is going to play all on Open or Volcus. Group B is going to play on all ITD, and then on day 2, which would be Saturday, they swap. Group B plays all Open / Volcus. All of Group A plays Open. Into the Dark, and then they combine on day 3, and who knows what you're going to get. It's up to the pairings, and it is a full Swiss event. So. We had multiple people in second place on the very last round drop all the way down to 11th place. So every round really does matter. There's 3 rounds day 1. We have 30-minute breaks in between. We have a 60-minute lunch. Hobby track is at the very beginning, and then we have a show match at the very end. And that should be, we're probably going to be doing something with either some people from YouTube. So either Kill Team content creators or painting content creators. I've reached out to multiple people to see if they would like to play NPOs, the brand new Titus NPO mission. I think that would be a lot of fun to end the stream on day 1 with. And then on the championship for day 2, we have another 3 rounds. This time is a 30-minute break and then a 45-minute lunch. We have the painting showcase after round 3. So sometime during day 2, we will come up to you and ask for you to be in the showcase to make sure your army is left so that we can properly judge it, similar to how Games Workshop does their painting showcase for Kill Team. And that takes place between 5 p.m. and 7. That's when we do single model, so on and so forth. And finally, day 3, we have round 1 at 9 a.m., just like all the other days. Then we have a 15-minute break. And we have round 2, and then we have a 30-minute lunch. Because we want to get everyone out of there as soon as possible. We have a 30-minute break after lunch that is going to be for the hobby awards, raffles, and sportsmanship in case if you have to catch your get out of there early. And round 3, we have 2:15 to 4:15, and then finally we have tournament awards. And this time we're only going to invite the top spots to come down, take a picture. All best in factions will just call out their names, and they'll come down and they will grab their trophy as they head out so we can wrap it up quickly.
Yes.
So there's a few other things. I want to go over some of the prizings for the event. There's a lot of good stuff there. Placings also, that's another thing. A lot of people that run tournaments are not doing their placings in the brand new beta, which is the new edition. You have to select the new edition.
For Besco Sparing, right?
Besco Sparings, correct. We're going to be doing placings will be tournament points, then then total points, then your kill op, and then primary. We will also be doing awards. So 1st through 8th, narrative awards. We'll have social prizes, best in factions, best in super factions, a bunch of different hobby awards, over 12 hobby awards. And then we'll be giving out a hobby track trophy and many other raffles that we will be doing at the event. We are in Vegas, so raffles are allowed.
Yeah.
A Black Templars painted kill team by me and Giacomo, an LVO token set, and a bunch of other stuff, including a terrain set. So, yeah, it's we have tons and tons of stuff that we're giving away at this event. So if you want to come, make sure you do. And now we're going to wrap up LVO before the 10-minute mark. Wow. Amazing.
Wow. I mean, hey, we got all your questions, most of your questions asked. And we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. So Giacomo, what are you hoping to see in this data? Firstly, when do you think this balanced data slate, beta slate? When do you think the beta slate? We're doing the beta slate. That's what it is.
There we go. We're doing the beta slate. I like that. I think it's going to drop like, what is that? December 20th, sometime there. Like maybe a random Wednesday, the Wednesday before that, upcoming. I don't know. Like, we've hit the quarter at this point. Data slate win, but I think we're closer than we think. I don't think it's going to happen in 2025. I think we're going to get it right in like December, but before Christmas.
Okay. So you think before Christmas?
Mm-hmm. So somewhere in like with the 20s.
Do you think we'll get it on Christmas?
On a Wednesday? Maybe.
That would be exciting.
What a
Please, Games Workshop, make our Christmas dreams come true.
Or nightmares, because you could see the slate have nothing, and you're like, nothing changed.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't
objectively.
think so either. There's no way.
That's fair. I'm hoping by Christmas. I'm thinking hopefully by the end of the year. We'll get one. That is my best guess. Who knows, man? Last year it came out like December 17th or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's possible, it could come out in a couple of days. That's why we're doing this video here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what team? So I have the stats on our website, Giacomo. I don't know if you've been looking at our website very much, but what team do you think is the highest win rate right now?
Let's see. Without going on the actual website right now, the squadgames.net, I think that the highest win rate right now is not actually Legionary. I would sooner put it somewhere with Inquisition, or I can't remember the other one's name, so I'm just going to go with Inquisition.
Going to go with Inquisition? Inquisition is, I think, 6th. Or 5th.
Ooh, 5th.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to spoil it for myself.
You're going to spoil it for yourself?
Or you could tell me.
I'm going to tell you, but I'm just trying to see. Trying to drum up a little conversation here, Giacomo.
Well, the reason I think that is because Legionaries, they're like Angels of Death, right? They're insanely popular. Mm-hmm. There's my cat right there. They're insanely popular. So we have all sorts of players playing, whether you're at the highest levels or at the mid levels or at the bottom levels, right? And well, there can only be so many winners. There's going to be mirror matches, right? So there's no way that they could have a perfect win rate because too many people play them. They're going to be pushed down.
Yeah.
Though I think they're above 50. I feel like the team is still above 50% wins. Whereas something like Inquisition, there might be a lot of them, but I look at that team and go, I probably could learn how to play this team, but I really don't want to invest the time in to do that.
Would it surprise you that Legionaries have a 2% lower win rate than Inquisition?
But
also Inquisition has nearly 300 more games than Legionary have nearly 300 more games than Inquisition.
That's kind of why I'm not so surprised.
So yeah, I know, right? So when we look here, Hierotech Circle is in first place with a 61.85% win rate. That's one of the most grotesque win rates we have seen in the game for quite some time.
There's a lot of people who don't want to play Necrons, I guess.
Yeah.
God, that's half.
They do have not a ton amount of games. They have 170 games, right? Which is Plague Marines are catching them, and Plague Marines released a month after,
I guess people really like their stinky boys.
Yeah. Then Warp Coven is next, and they have a 59.66% win rate.
I mean, I'm not surprised, especially with Dan taking it for Worlds with it,
Yeah, but the crazy thing about Warp Coven and with how many games that team has, typically when you look at the teams and the ratings and stuff, these include Warp Coven versus Warp Coven games. So the sad thing is that 59% win rate includes a trajectory towards the 55% win rate category or 50% win rate category because it has so many. With that many games played, you have a lot of games where Warp Coven is going to fight Warp Coven, thus trending towards a 50%. So their true win rate is probably greater than 59%. When they're not looking at playing against themselves.
Oh, no, mirror matches, right?
Mirror matches. Same thing with Legionaries.
That's
Legionaries have 481 games, which is the most so far in this edition. And they are also trending towards that. And you can see how far, because that team is objectively just as crazy as Warp Coven, or if not crazier, in my opinion. And then we have Novitiates with only 66 total games played with a 58% win rate and 200 games from Inquisition. And those are the only ones that are above the 55% win rate. So for us, I think that we're going to talk about these 6 teams, what we would like to see with those 6 teams. And then we can talk about any additional team that we think needs something, maybe needs a nerf that is not in that rate. That would be my guess.
I mean, let's get into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should we just start with Hyrotech Circle? Start from the top? Why not? All right. I'm not sure.
I'm going to pull up the Kill Team app. I
don't know how to fix these robots. There's parts of it which just don't feel totally destructive. Like it doesn't feel insurmountably hard. But you can set up some pretty good combos with like death marks to just absolutely snipe a dude out of a spot and take out an elite with one shot. But at the same time, you can play Warp Coven or Legionaries, or heck, probably even Plague Marines can do the same thing. And you can corner them and force them to be stuck. And then you win by playing contain. So like, I don't know what to do to fix the robots.
So the robots' interesting metric is that they are not placing nearly as much as some of the other teams, right? They have a 12% placing ratio, which means 12% of the tournaments that they've appeared in, they have a 12% chance of placing at one of those events. And they've showed up at 19 events, so they've placed in 4 of them, with 29 unique players in the world, which is not many, right?
And that kind of feels right. Like there'd be a handful of people who could do it, and then everyone else just is really strong, but doesn't quite make it to the top.
Yeah. For me, I think that there could be a really simple fix for the team.
What do you think?
One of which is whenever a model is dead, it counts towards the kill op. And when it dies again, nothing happens, right? I think one of the main reasons why Hyrotech can win is because you can get focused on, you just lose the kill op against the team because they just resurrect and you lose points, right?
Right, the momentum to do the kill op, you're right.
Exactly. So I think if you could focus on just killing operatives, that should help a lot. And then also, I think some of their aura buffs are quite large. So maybe making some of the aura buffs a little smaller. Maybe like the Psychomancer going from an 8-inch no rerolls to maybe like a 6-inch no rerolls. Maybe put it in line with some of the other teams, so on and so forth. And I think if you do those small things, I would like to see where the team kind of tends towards, because like, is the team actually that Giga Chad busted, or is it just the fact that they're like, hey, I can stop you from scoring kill op, thus I win because I take away a third of the game,
Right, and I think you're right. Like, I don't think the team is inherently busted, right? There's nothing I've ever looked at the team and gone like, wow, like this is the end. This is broken in the wrong way. Everything feels strong, like it should be, because I still do believe that they're elites. They have strong powers. They can heal, which is kind of an elite thing. I think you might be right about the kill op thing, like, because you lose momentum, right? Like, oh, I got it. I killed the 3 guys, but 2 of them come back and then they kill you, and now they're ahead on the kill op, and that kind of like swings in your favor. If you're a good player, like you will make sure you remember that, because then that's how you're going to win. Yeah, that's a good point, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. I think you're right. Maybe make the first time they die count towards kill ups.
Warp Coven, delete them.
Okay, you jumped into that one fast. There is a lot inherently wrong here. I say that, and I only say that because when I was watching everything at Worlds, I was thinking, how are they this good Like, what's going on? I
because
think
we complained about him too much last edition. We complained way too much.
They made him too good. They can slingshot. Like their ability to shoot and evade is so powerful because they're still an elite. Right? They can play really slowly, cagey, and then go all out in the last 2 turns of the game and just absolutely win it. Right? It's over. And I honestly do think it is the slingshotting ability and being able to ignore obscuring with the one spell. Like those 2 things was the combo, right? It was like the spell, Doom Bolt, and then you go back using the temporal or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Like I barely saw healing because you were just never shot.
Yeah.
Like, and if you were gonna get shot at, someone was bringing a meltagun to make sure you were gone.
Absolutely.
So like, healing wasn't really the problem. It was never being in sight of where you need to be. Like, and you're just hidden perfectly. Warp flamers are gross. They're so strong. And they're all 2-up saves. So they're kind of like rubrics are built like a tank. And you always take the 2 fighty Zangors, or you take the banner one for the ability, and then you take the fighting one to strike twice. And even if he dies, he does so much damage on the way out. Versus the big rivals, which are like elites. So they're just a little bit overtuned right now. And you could probably tune them back down, and they'd still be like A tier, but they wouldn't be like this insurmountable type of like game that you have to deal with.
Yeah. For me, Deathcore loses to them with 5 operatives. So
easy.
Like, so like easy thing, -1 operative, right? They have a 60% win rate, minus an operative. That's my easy answer. I don't know if I can provide a comprehensive, good answer as to what I would like to see done with the team because the team is so overly tuned. I don't know if I'm good enough at balance, because I don't do that professionally, right? Like we just talk about the game.
That's true.
We think about the game, we play the game, but we don't actively balance the game, right?
With this team, I kind of wish they had like cabal points, like in 40K, where they go, all right, depending on how many any rubrics you bring, like you get a certain amount of cabal points at the start of the turn, right? And with that, you can cast all your powers. So it's not just a 1 AP ability. It's like you have your 1 AP plus whatever you have to save in your bank to use it, right? And it resets every turn. So like as you lose rubrics, or if you choose not to take them, you get less, right? So you kind of have to think about that. And now it's not just like I always have these powers and I'm always crazy strong. It's like, but we're not redesigning here. So instead, I'd probably say make certain abilities not eligible to be used twice during like counteracts, because that's another thing is you'd see. Because they already make like that explicitly clear with some things. It's like you can't use this twice, or you can't do this without this. So like why not just add some explicit thing for the team, right? Why can't you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see counteracts. You not be able to counteract twice on guard. I would like it so that you can't. I would like to see like unique actions come back. So like. You can only cast 1 spell per turning point. You can't heal and then heal again, or Doom Bolt then Doom Bolt again. Like I also think Fly is busted. Like just remove Fly from the team. Like they already have a super like snapback spell. You could nerf the snapback spell. You could get rid of P1 on the team, like so that they can't ignore
the
piercing weapons because they have a 2-up save. If you ignore piercing? Every piercing in the game, except for 1 Melta on some teams, you just get 1 dice to get that gets through. Like it's impossible, right?
I forgot.
Yeah. I have horror like nightmares of what Warp Coven did to me.
Right. Like if anything, maybe make it like warded armor. Force it to be like 1 guy is ignoring piercing this round. Everyone else is fine to be normal.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like Angels of Death lose to them because when you take piercing weapons, and I'm just using Angels of Death as an example, because you can kid them all out with piercing. So suddenly you have no piercing. Your gun does nothing, and you took a worse weapon because you could have taken the auto bolt rifle with accurate instead. In fact, that's what you probably want to do, but not really. You actually want P1 anyways. So getting rid of like any team who has abilities to do P1 just inherently kills that team like so much against you. Yeah, that's like maybe worsen it. So like anything that's piercing 2 goes to piercing 1, and that's it, right? Like you can never reduce lower than piercing.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's like so many different fixes that you could do. It's just like how much do we think Games Workshop is going to take? Do we think that they're going to be like super
like obliterate
overkill, like eliminate them, or do you think that they're going to like be super not? Like, do you think they're just going to like imagine if they did everything and they minus an operative, then the team might be dead. And what if it wasn't? Oh my gosh.
Or if they forced you to have to take Zangors and them together, which they wouldn't do, but like that's redesigning.
If the data slate doesn't touch Warp Coven, to me, it's an objective failure.
Objective failure. Like we saw what the top was at Worlds. They saw what the top was at Worlds. Like we know the problem children here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. So,
and I definitely remember they kind of nerfed cults into the ground. I definitely don't think cults were bad after that last nerf, but I don't think they were like good anymore either.
Right. And same thing happened with Gellerpox, just like ruined.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll have to see. Plague Marines.
Inherently, I don't have a problem with them. It's just kind of the same thing. The unique action should probably exist for certain spells, right? Double healing is rough. Poison weapons or like plague weapons, it's insanely strong. Like saturate, severe, like guaranteeing things is like, what are we doing here, guys?
Dude, it wasn't when I was playing against Plague Marines. It wasn't the fact that I couldn't do any damage. No, it wasn't the fact that they did too much damage. My guys die anyways. Right. It was the problem for me was that I could not kill their operatives.
That too.
Like I just could not do it. Between the guards, between the P1 reductions, between 14 wounds.
And reducing damage by 1 for everything. It's just like...
Yeah, I mean, you could also see like maybe all Astarte models get -2 wounds, and they go back down to 12 wounds or something like that. Like there's like so many different ways that the teams could go. But if I had to guess for Plague Marines, I don't know if they would -2 wounds like this early.
No, I think they're going to probably stay mostly untouched.
Yeah, I think I like how all Astartes have 14 wounds, so I don't think they're going to go there.
Save for light armored guys like Phobos.
Yeah. You could also change their P1 strat ploy to be like work like the old ones, where P1 is now just you get to turn a normal save into a critical save.
Right, something like that. And maybe have their damage reduction only happen to normals.
That would be nice.
Does normals and criticals, and you have the ploy that's like, I'm going to reduce all the damage this turn. I don't need to have to roll for it. Like I just get it.
Well, the first time I played Plague Marines, Christopher Scott Bloor rolled almost every single 4-up save.
Oh,
I think he only failed 3 in the game. The second time I played Plague Marines, I played really, really like scaredly, and I did not like try to fight them as much because I knew how hard they were to kill. And the third time I played against them, did I play them a third time? I don't think I did.
You played a bunch of elites, so who knows?
Yeah, I think I played 3 Legionary, 2. I might have played a third one. I'm not sure. But I just doesn't come to mind. For me, I don't know, make their movement go down to 4 inches.
Man, I think that's too much. Like 5 is already tough. Like they're not really getting to your side of the board.
Bro.
And I'm not even,
they are.
Really? They got to your side?
Bro, I could not stop the guys, bro.
I think the damage reduction is needed for sure.
They struggle into like Legionary and stuff like that, right? I'm definitely looking at them from like one of the bottom tier teams,
Right.
Yeah, that or like something has to happen to their piercing. They're just the team is way too tanky. But that goes with Warp Coven and for Legionary. So there's not like a huge difference. Maybe they could do something to all of those 3 teams, but heaven forbid they do something to all Astartes, because Angels of Death do not need it.
Right. Angels of Death, Phobos, and Nemesis Claw do not deserve this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're tuned decently, where they're not like over the top, but they have some good abilities. In the grand thing of competitive, because sometimes some players will be like, I cannot beat Angels of Death, but they're also playing a team that's like there's no way you could do this, you know?
Yeah. They're playing like Kasserkin, you know?
Right. And then, okay, so do you have to lift Kasserkin up and other friends up then, right? Do you have to tune them?
I think it's going to be really hard to lift up any team that is in Inquisition. We're going to get to Inquisition in a second, but I think it's going to be really difficult. I did like a thought experiment on Veteran Guard, trying to be like, hey, how could I buff them? And to be honest, it's nearly impossible. Unless if you focus just on like, if you only focus on like their ploys and their orders and stuff like that, then you could. But almost all their operatives outside of their leader get taken by Inquisition. So like, let's say Inquisition. Well, we'll get to them in a second. Novitiates are up next with a 58% win rate, 66 games, 30% placement rating. They've showed up to 10 events and placed in 4 of them.
I think the people who are playing Novitiates are some of the best Novitiate players.
I would agree.
I don't actually think this team needs to be touched.
I think they do.
Really? What do you think? What are you thinking? Because when I played against them,
if they don't get nerfed, Giacomo, if something does not happen to this team very well could win LVO.
All right, what are you thinking?
Because you have to remember, the best players in the world are going to take the best teams.
Right.
Okay. If the other teams above these guys get nerfed, people are going to take this team, the best players in the world, and they will abuse them, just like the people that are currently dominating this with this team are dominating with them. I know that there's a lot of people in the YouTube comments that don't see the power of this team. We talked to Shane about it. Shane just said that their dice manipulation, their healing, and their ability just to like be super tanky is ultimately like the biggest issue for Novitiates. And that's what is making them so strong. So how they fix that, I have no idea. Less faith points for one.
I mean, I'm all for removing faith points. I have a friend who plays Novitiate, so it's just funny for me. But no, realistically, like I don't see like, I think your answer might be right. Maybe reduce some of their faith points. Maybe that is the right answer, because innately, I never have a problem playing against these guys. I have never played against someone like Shane who's running them, or someone like Chris Baki who's running them.
I was talking to somebody else, and they said that actually Novitiates have completely changed the way that they've played from before. So they used to be kind of like this hybrid, like fighty, tanky team, or, you know, they used to do a lot more damage and stuff like that. But now the team just focuses way more on defense. They do have a lot of offensive tools, like their flamers and their melee weapons and stuff like that. But the team is much tankier than they let on. And I know it's thrown some core novitiate players that used to play novitiates habitually to be like, well, they've changed my team so much. Do I still want to play the team? And that's where I'm at with Veteran Guard, right?
Right.
Like the whole team is just objectively like, they took the heart and soul out of it and put a new heart and soul in it. And now it's like, okay, where do I sit now? What do I want to play now? Right. I've heard novitiates players are the same way. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know them too well, so I can't tell you that I've really seen a change. Blinding Aura.
They're an overly complicated team, to say the least. Yeah.
With faith points, you know, it adds a new element. It's not like an easy one, like with at the time Kasserkin, which was just like increase your hit. Mm-hmm. I honestly can't really see too much of an issue with novitiates. Sure, they do have a lot of healing, but if you're not killing them in one shot anyways, like with your weapons, then you weren't going to win anyways. Like, because any elite team will absolutely crush them in combat. Like they'll charge them and they will kill them. 7 wounds. They will do it. Unless they bore Poli. Veteran Guard, though, I don't think they could take him. No. Like you're doing 2-3 damage. There's no way you could do enough to kill them without them healing. Like there's nothing you could do. Like that's the kind of team where I could see that being a problem. Hey, kitty.
So, inquisitorial agents are the last the second to last team that we're going to talk about that probably needs a nerf. 200 games, 57% win rate, and a 20% placement rating. Shown up to 13 tournaments so far, and they've placed in 6 of them.
This is
or they have 6 placings. They didn't place in 6. They could have placed multiple times in the same event. And 25 total unique players. I think that Inquisition is super, super strong in the right hands. I think at Worlds we saw a couple of the players fall where the more people play with this team, the better they will be. If you just pick up this team and expect them to do well with them, you will not. You will not just go and just win everything, right? Their team is too complicated. The team is too hard to get everything right. Do the right thing. Because every single time I talk to somebody at Worlds, whether it was Alexa from Australia, Liam from Australia, Mike Cortez, all these people were like, if I just, Chris Baki, if they're like, I could have won the game if I went back to Turning Point 3 and I did this and this instead of what I did. Right? And the team is just going to get better and better and better the more people just start maining the team. How do you fix the team? For me, I would say just take out all the bespoke agents and just let it ride. Have them play Scions, have them play
Sisters, and that's it. Sisters,
but I doubt they're going to do that because too many people have bought other teams that are part of the team, and that would just be a really feels bad. That's a Dakotah balance data slate, not a Games Workshop balance slate.
I mean, slate. Yeah, and I guess in a way, like if they did that though, they would still own other teams at least. I mean, it's not a good solution. I don't want to be like, oh, at least you still have this, No, that's not a great solution. Hey, Kitty, you're really getting on the desk today. I think this is probably the best way to play them if you want to be better. Just pick one faction and dedicate your life to playing that. Like if you only do Kasrkins with them, just do that. But I think I'm on the boat of like, just give them the Scions, just give them the Sisters, and that's it. Hell, let them mix and match with those two. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my ideal fix to the team. I don't know what Games Workshop is going to do to them. I'm sure they're going to make certain things cost more CP. Maybe they can make denounce cost. Maybe they can change denounce to once per game. Maybe they can do it CP +1. Maybe they make it so you can only take, one AP2 gunner. Like that helps. But then like, why have Scions and Kasrkin on the team? I don't know. Like, I don't know how to fix the team. The team is just so cooked and crazy. I have a fix, but I doubt it's what Games Workshop's going to do.
Right. I mean, we'll see, right? Because I think the thing to take is to take Kasrkin, right? Because you take the recon guy, you take their weapon, the demo man, like I get it, I understand.
Yeah. Legionaries. Legionaries are not good. I mean, sorry. Legionaries are really good.
They're too good. No opportunity costs. There's nothing you really have to sacrifice in order to get an ability, right? Like the closest one they have is I lose some health if I want to make sure this hit goes through or something, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. And that's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's nothing.
So go ahead, G. Sorry.
No, that was it for me.
I think Legionaries, they have a really low, they have a really high skill floor and a really high skill ceiling. Though we did see multiple people at Worlds struggle with them because they ran into other elites who can beat them. Hyrotech can beat them. Mm-hmm. Plague Marines can beat them. Novitiates can beat them. Inquisition, Felgor, a lot of teams can beat them, but they're going to beat them. Not
they're going to beat
all
themselves
the time.
Harder. Like Legionary versus Legionary is going to kill Legionary.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think that's really the hard part because at the end, Legionary was at the top with Warp Coven. Yeah. So it's like nothing else took him out but Legionaries.
Yeah. I can point out to a few things that I really disliked in my games against them, balance-wise.
Go ahead.
Slaanesh was way too strong.
The minus.
Nurgle is way too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Tzeentch is way too strong. Khorne was okay.
Khorne was okay. Khorne is definitely, it's not that bad. Like, you're already going to hit me hard anyways.
Yeah.
Didn't
I think
change a
we've
lot.
gone over them a lot on this channel. I don't want to like
bore you to death.
beat a drum. You know, a lot of people have said, you know, make the CP. I think they should just make a core rule saying you can't ever gain more than 2 CP in a turn. So you can keep the CP generation on the bearer, but you know, if you go second, you don't get 3, you only get 2. I think that would be I think that would be fine. You know, that could fix possible other problems in the future. P1, something has to be done about P1 on that team. It's just broken. Slaanesh feels really, really bad. Maybe Slaanesh is -1 to hit. Minimum is a 4 up to hit. You know, like it really makes a lot of teams function improperly and badly when a 4+ team hits on
right
5s.
when you're yeah, exactly.
What is the Rekkas hit on?
Rekkas, if they move, they're hitting on 5s with most of their guns.
So
which
you hit on
you
hit on 6s against Slaanesh.
Yeah, you would hit like insanely poorly, and you know you would rely on your Rekka points and rerolls.
Those have to be changed, in my opinion, minimum.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of these mark abilities are just too strong to be like everybody's getting it. Yeah, but then
if those get changed, then they're just going to take Tzeentch, and Tzeentch is just as broken because you can give all of your models like severe and rending, and then they automatically get like 2 crits and whatever else they do. Rather frustrating. So I'm going to be really interested to see what Games Workshop does. I think that maybe models can only benefit from whatever
mark if they have the mark.
You know, so then everyone just takes Nurgle and they just go Nurgle every time, or they just take Slaanesh, they go Slaanesh every time. At least they can't be like, I'm going to have 8 CP, I'm going to be Slaanesh, and I'm going to be Nurgle, you know, and it's like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually think this team is going to be fully fixed.
No.
I think
unless if they like drop them to 5 models, there are multiple teams that still lose to them at 5 models, or lose. Yeah, maybe not every team anymore, but a lot of them. The team just needs a lot. Void Dancers almost made the cut. They're at a 54.85% win rate. They did make the top 16 cut. I do expect some kind of nerf from Games Workshop to them, just because they made the top cut, right? Novitiates, I could see possibly getting away without getting a nerf because they didn't make the top cut at Worlds, just specifically because we're going off of what happened last time at Worlds compared to like, you know,
right,
what we saw in the actual data slate, right? Void Dancers could possibly get a nerf.
I'm trying to think what their big nerf could be. Like, getting to strike twice is really good. Having the new invulnerable save is pretty good. Their movement is pretty good, and I don't actually see it as much of a problem. I don't know. I don't really know, because see, like when I saw,
I'm not familiar enough with the team in order to give them a good enough nerf.
It's because like the times I've seen them played pretty well. There were definitely things their opponent could have done that could have won them the game. Like, I'd seen it a bunch of times. And I was just thinking, they didn't do that. They did something else, and it cost them the game. I remember because Jimmy and I were talking about it, going like, well, if he had done that and charged the guy when he had the chance to, instead of doing the other guy to shoot, he could have killed 3 guys. And these guys are only 8 wounds. Like, he definitely could have done it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the mistakes, I think. So this team...
They're just good at everything.
They're just good at everything, but this team can be beaten, right? Like, the worst thing they have, it's the toughest, is the domino field, and being able to make sure you get 2 strikes in to absolutely make sure you kill something. Like, that's the worst part, in my opinion.
Maybe domino field gets CP +1, you know, like
domino field could be CP +1.
That could be a nerf, because I do know that that's really strong. Like, if somebody just hits you with a bunch of 5s and you roll 1 5, then you get to save them all.
Right. That's
a little feels bad, to say the least, right?
Yeah, pick a number, and then like that number is the one I get to have. So like, that can be a little rough.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time they thought it was a cool power, but it turns out it's a little too strong.
Yeah. Yeah. That would probably be my nerf, and then kind of see where they lie. I don't know if I have anything else for the team. I don't envy the people at Games Workshop,
No, and realistically, I don't think Void and Answer Troop is that bad. Like the Domino Field is probably the worst ability. And even
until they win Las Vegas Open.
Until they win LVO. But no, I think that'll go. I don't want to say it now and jinx it, but I think it's going to go to Legionary.
You still think so?
I still think so.
I
don't think they're going to touch them enough. Because they're going to try, and then they're going to be like, it's out of character, it's out of flavor, we're not going to do that. And then that's going to be the thing that like stops them from really making any significant change.
Yeah, so
like maybe the Balefire healing will actually change, and that's about it.
Hopefully. That needs to be man. I'm just excited for change, Couple other teams to talk about real quick. Corsairs have a 14% placing percentage, even though they only have a 50% win rate. The 14% placement rating is better than Hierotech Circle and better than Plague Marines and Legionaries, which means that out of the games that Corsair is getting 141, that means that they are placing at quite a few tournaments. So I think they are pretty strong. Do I think that they're going to need a nerf? Maybe after this data slate, maybe if they just continue to rise and win and stuff. They do have a lot of really good players at high level skills. They still can't compete with the top table until those teams get nerfed. So I would not like to see anything happen to them. Brood Brothers are also up there with a 16% win rate. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, like
they're
compared to where they were.
Yeah, but when we look at their how many people are playing them,
exactly,
only 32 players. You have to take that 16% win rate placing percentage with a grain of salt.
Right. It was one of those teams that like, oh my God, it was busted, so we're gonna all play it. And then as soon as it's like, this is broken, but not in the way I want it to be, I want to return this. So only the true loyalists who wanted to have the forearm god.
It's playing. Specifically because the guy, I think his name is Eric, who went to WCW. He won an event in Florida with them, and that is literally the only thing here. Like he won the event. He won the tournament. That's this row. He got top placing. That's that row. So it's just like, hey, do we nerf it because like one guy won one event with them? Absolutely
right, exactly.
not.
And was that in third edition or was that in second?
Oh, that was in second. That was in this one. That was in
it was in third.
Event.
Okay, well, so that's
third.
Okay.
It was early November.
Yeah. That's
early
right.
November.
That's right. So I don't think you should touch Brood Brothers. I think they're probably fine in where they are. They have such a low amount of plays that like it's just one guy who's making the stats go really high.
Mandrakes are kind of this is concerning. This right here, this 24% placing percentage with 114 games is at a 2.06 over representation ratio. The closer representation, it's really complicated math. The closer this is to 1, the better, right? A 2.6 is like double of what it should be.
Right. Is that saying that it's like they're really misrepresented on where they play?
This means that players who are really bad at them are really, really bad at them. And people who are really good with them can do magical things, dark things.
So they're very like to the left and right. Like we really don't know where this team falls.
Exactly. And that's a really hard team to balance in itself. I don't think that one should be nerfed either, but that one could come out of the woodworks. I've heard a lot of scary things about Felgor Ravagers, and people are saying that if all the elites get nerfed too hard, Felgor just may become the new bad guys.
If their prey gets worse, then we're going to get new predators. And that's what I think is also going to happen with Corsairs. Yeah.
Which I'd be okay with, let the Corsairs have a little time in the sun.
Yeah, let them come up, man. Give them the 10-man team treatment, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Angels of Death is doing really poorly. They have 209 total games with a 40% win rate. They have won 0 events and they've placed at 0.
Yeah.
Placed at zero events.
Do usually think that Angels of Death, although popular, a lot of new players get to play them, and they're new players at a tournament. They're probably not going to place.
They've shown up in more tournaments than any other team, 21 events. Oh, sorry. Legionaries have showed up at 22. I apologize.
Yeah, because they're winning.
Yep.
Yeah,
and there's been 22 total events. So Legionaries have shown up in every single tournament that
Angels of Death missed one
that we're tracking. Yeah.
And again, Angels of Death, I think your friend is like, hey, I have these Space Marines, just play them. They're not even the optimized Space Marine team. There's no captain when you need it. There's no assault intercessor sergeant. It's just the 6 dudes I own. Play this team for the tournament. I bought you your ticket. And I think that's what happens with a lot of them because they're so new. Or it's like, hey, I'm getting into Warhammer. What should I get? Oh, 6 Marines? I can get 6 Space Marines on the table. And then you start playing them, right? And also of the elites, I think they're probably one of the weaker elites.
Yeah.
So that also doesn't necessarily help them, but
a couple other, sorry to cut you off. Jim.
No, that was it.
A couple other big necessary problems that we can see is the very bottom of the. I mean, I will just name off for our podcast listeners, everything under a 45% win rate. We have Nemesis Claw, Scout Squad, Hearthkin, Angels of Death, Star Striders, Exaction, Vespids, Tempestus Aquilions, Hunterclade, Blades of Cain, Harnkin Jaegers, Farstalker Kinband, Commandos, Death Corps, Kasserkin, Pathfinders, and Imperial Navy Breachers. The lower I got on that list, the worse their win rate got. Okay, we're going to start from the bottom real quick. We're not going to go all the way up to 45% win rate because I actually think Nemesis Claw is in a good position. I think Nemesis Claw is very good. We saw him at SoCal Open almost take out Legionary. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So Imperial Navy Breachers have a 0% win rate. They've only been taken once at Worlds, and that's after Worlds came out with the errata saying that they should only have, I think, 13 models or 12 models instead of the 13 models. Mm-hmm. They effectively got -1 operative. Somebody still brought them for the funds, lost. So, there it is. Pathfinders are right above them with 21 games played only. So it's really hard to take. It's difficult to say that this is a good statistic of
how
where
the turntables.
Kasserkin at 46 games played. Okay, still pretty at a 19% win rate, and then Death Corps of 28 games played, 10 of which are mine, at a 24% win rate. Commandos also have 120 games played with a 28% win rate. I highly expect Commandos to get a buff. I've heard that Commandos can play against some of the top teams, but I just don't know what's going on with the Commandos. I've heard they're good, but apparently they're not doing so hot. What's crazy about the Farstalker Kinband's 78 games, 30 of those games come from WTC or WCW, the World Championships of Warhammer. They still have a 29% win rate. And I know 2 players who went even or close to even with the team. So
pretty good.
The team has legs at the upper end, but it still looks like if Orion and Ernesto and a few other people didn't play this team so well, perhaps they would be just as low as the Pathfinders. I don't know. Aquilions and Vespids are actually at a 36 and 35% win rate as well. They are 2 brand new teams that are struggling in this meta quite drastically. So I'm going to be interested to see if they receive a buff. Typically, Games Workshop likes to wait 6 months before things get like crazy changes. Right. But I think the meta's in quite a desperate state at the moment.
At least at the top. It's very top heavy where it needs to change.
Hunterclade, they hurt my brain to think about. They have a 34% win rate. I don't even want to think of what I'm going to give them a buff for. And then Blades of Cain are also, a
rough spot. They were doing okay last edition.
Yeah.
They're coming out okay at the end. And then they pooped themselves. Oops.
Yep. And Harnkin Jaegers are also in the 30% win rate. And I think it's specifically because Harnkin Jaegers struggle immensely into elites. What's going to be interesting is if they do a nerf to elites, how these change.
Right. How all these ones from who are 44 and down are going to either go up, right? Because now they have a chance to actually play against them.
Yeah. From outside of Hearthkin Salvagers, pretty much Angels of Death all the way down, all of these teams struggle rather hard into elites. And that's weird to say about Kasserkin and Deathcore because that's not how it was last edition.
Right. They used to just knock out elites. And it was a good rock, paper, scissors thing.
Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the meta changes and what they do or who they buff. I don't know what they're going to do to Breachers, man. No one's playing them, and when they do, they lose.
The thing with Deathcore, Kasserkin, and Breachers, in my opinion, is the better team is Inquisition. Get the Inquisition box and play the team because you want the best parts of those teams and not the garbage. And Inquisition will let you take the best only, and then you don't have garbage. So you're going to play the better parts, and you're probably not going to take Deathcore. You're going to take Kasserkin. Realistically,
you hit on threes. Why
would you take?
The only reason why you take Deathcore is because you can take a Confidant, right? And you can get GA2 activations out of it.
That could be a cool combo. Could be.
It could. Yeah, it can be.
But I think Kasserkins are the better attack. The take all comers.
And also, Deathcore with the skull buffs, getting 5 attacks is actually relatively decent. And you get an extra model. So, I think there's play to them in Inquisition, but I still don't think it's optimal.
Not quite enough.
I've heard that you take Deathcore into other Inquisition when you do a mirror match. I don't know why, but that's what they were saying at Worlds. Some of the top players were saying
maybe that GA2 lets you win, lets you get around some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I think that if we look at the teams, there's only 2 teams who have less than 10 games competitively played. Chaos Cults, I do know that the player the Chaos Cults were played at in the Pacific Northwest. And then you look at Gellerpox and they only have 4 games played as well. So it doesn't seem like the community is very hot on either one of those teams whatsoever. So I'm going to be interested to see if either one of those teams, if they're looking at if Games Workshop looks at actual popularity metrics whatsoever, if either one of these teams would get a buff just because they're just so unpopular, including with Navy Breachers.
I have this feeling that Gellerpox and Starstriders are going to get abandoned only because they're a hero team. You're not really using them in a lot of other stuff in 40K. Sure, they exist, but you're not really, at least I haven't seen many players use them. Mm-hmm. And since they're on the chopping block for the next the declassified stuff, I honestly could see them going well, they're dead. And but I'd like them. I'd like to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong because I think everyone should have a chance to play with your toys at a decent level, maybe not at the top level, but it sucks to go I spent all this time doing Gellerpox and then now they're not good. So I'm going to take Legionary because they just play better. Mm-hmm. And that's not fun because it's not in your heart, you wanted to play something else, but you just can't play this team without having a bad time. No one wants to go to a tournament and absolutely bomb, right? You want to at least do something in a game.
Yeah, it does hurt going to a tournament and bombing.
That's what I'm saying. You felt it, you played Deathcore the whole way, and
I knew it was going to happen, and it
still feels bad.
It does.
It's crushing. Ugh.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to ask you, G, as we start to round this bad boy out, we had a couple questions from Patreon, and one of them was, Giacomo, how is your New Year's resolution about finishing your Navy Breachers going?
It's down the toilet due to a few factors. Since becoming part of the partner program, so my time gets moved to focusing on those teams because we want to get them out for you guys. And they're also really bad. So it comes down to the same thing I just expressed a few seconds ago where why would I play my Gellerpox if they're really bad? This shout out to the homie Melty. You feel it in his face. He's such a trooper when he comes out to play. He plays Gellerpox and every one of his opponents goes oh yeah, man, you definitely there was just nothing you could do against me. And they know, he knows. And it's just it's why bother? Right. And I don't want to have that mindset, with a why bother team. If there's nothing you can do, it's just, why would you do it? Mm-hmm. And that's where I am with Navy Breachers. So my resolution's probably going to hit the toilet.
Yeah. Otherwise you'd have 21 days to finish them.
Yep.
Which is not going to happen.
That's not happening. We have another project that we got to finish. So a few projects.
Yeah, we have a lot of projects. Most of which include LVO.
It's actually all LVO now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a birthday party and a bunch of people came over and helped me build terrain.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Most of those people just knocked out, popped out terrain, and
that's a lot because there's a lot. Yeah.
I spent all of yesterday finishing 12 sets and I'm still not done. So
that's a lot.
Yeah. And then this week we have West Coast Championships. Looking forward to that event, which is like accumulation of, everyone in the Bay Area. We have people from Portland, or Oregon. We have people from Southern California, all going. So that's going to be a lot of fun, pretty exciting. And then right after that event, we're just looking at Christmas, New Year's, and then just straight into LVO. Mm-hmm. So make sure that if you're going to LVO, you read the packet because there is a faction cutoff date. We're going to do a 1 week faction, or a little bit over 1 week. So we're looking at data slates and all that kind of stuff. If a data slate drops, we're going to try to use it. We're going to do it to the best of our ability. Mm-hmm. Factions are going to be cut off by the 9th. If they drop something after the 9th, I will give players an opportunity to change their factions. But if a data slate comes before the 9th is the day that you have to submit your factions, and I will lock the factions from there. And if you don't do it by then, you will receive a yellow card, which will be -2 points in your first game. We should be good from there. So
yeah.
And then we're going to start putting everyone. We're going to start sorting everyone by their ITC scores after the West Coast Championship, and start sorting players to where they're going to go. Because I expect FLG to cut off the tickets for the event. They did it right before Christmas last year, so that means people have about 11 days to get the final tickets for the Las Vegas Open.
Yes.
And if we would love to see you there, looking forward to learning more about the Rattlings team and the Arekas, so we can be 100% on our game on those rules, and every other faction as well, including hopefully the data slate. So, G, is there anything that you want to say?
Of course, my spiel. If you want to join the conversation, you can leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or on the Discord. You can tell us what you think about the episode, what you'd like to talk about in the future, why you think certain teams may not need a buff or need a buff. Follow us on Instagram. We're at squad_games_entertainment, where we try to update you with pictures from events, pictures from things that are upcoming to our events, or just things we're doing for the channel. And then, of course, you can find me. I'm at wargaming_studios, where I will see what I post up next, because there's certain things I'm not allowed to post yet, and that'll come in time. And, look forward to that. And thank you to our Patreon members who helped make this possible. We really appreciate it. You guys have some perks, like when we did the advanced terrain sets, we have extra episodes on there as well. So if you want to join and help us out in that way, that would be most appreciated. And if you can't do that, just liking the video or giving it a 5-star rating on whatever podcast station you're listening to, that would be also very much appreciated. Shout out to you guys.
And if you don't like our takes, give us a downvote.
Hell yeah.
Give us a negative comment. Tell us how wrong we are.
Please.
Yeah. If you like any of our takes, agree with us. We want to promote
honesty, honestly.
Honesty. We want to promote different kind of ideas and thoughts, because I can guarantee you, I don't know what Games Workshop's going to do. I don't think anyone except Games Workshop knows what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all waiting for that to happen one of these days. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too, because I think Kill Team is a great game, and I'm excited to continue our journey learning this edition and becoming the experts along with all of you.
Yes. Look forward to that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Until next time, everyone.
See ya. The Squad Games podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.